Bismillah. Welcome back, Zoo Crew. So, today is December 25th, aka Christmas. So, most things are closed, and we've been having a pretty chill but productive day, you know? So, I guess maybe we could talk about that, like living with your significant other, relationships, these kind of things. Um, I guess really it comes down to communication, discipline, empathy, and understanding, you know? So right now my sleep schedule is not really where it needs to be, and been a lot of late nights, you could say, right? And part of that is just like me wanting to hang out with Mina instead of like getting my shit done during the day. So today we did something different. So we both like spent our day together but separate, right? So being productive, which she was doing a course, and I ended up finishing my book. So yeah, I guess officially I am an author now. My first book is completed. Just waiting for. So initially, like I was like, okay, well I could just like format this myself and then like design it in Canva. But then it's like, is that really a good productive use of my time? And like even if I spent hours like trying to make it look good and like pretty, there's a limit to how good I could make it, right? Because like this is not my wheelhouse. So I'm much better off going to Fiverr, spending like 5, 20, 50, maybe even $100 to like get this formatted, designed, and like look nice, right? Because that's a way I guess you could buy time. It's like like for me to accomplish the same thing that somebody who does this for a living would do, it's gonna take me a lot of time. So I'm much better off just paying an expert to do it, format it, make it look good, and then like I just focus on what I'm good at, marketing and sales, right? So outside of that, I think everybody has like enough knowledge about like one thing at least in their life that they could write a book about or like an ebook, you know? And as of now, like my book is 30 pages, so it's not like very long by any means. But again, that's by design because there's so much noise and like garbage information online that people get lost in the sauce. So my whole goal was, okay, let me create like this resource or tool that cuts straight through the noise. It's no bullshit, no fluff, and it's has tactical information that you can use. And I've added like workbook elements to it, so it's like engaging for whoever's reading the book. And I've written it in a way that it's like you and me are having a conversation while you're reading it. And I guess that's a good point or like a segue to there was this emperor in ancient Greece. I think it was Emperor Nero, and somebody had told him like if you want to like become successful or you want to like gain wisdom or knowledge, something like this, like you have to learn how to talk to dead people. And at the time he was like, okay, cool, like how am I supposed to talk to dead people? And then he's in this library, I think it was a library or some place where they held books, right? And this person is like quoting a philosopher, I think it was like Aristotle or Socrates or somebody. And then in that moment it clicked for him. He's like, oh, this is how you talk to dead people, right? The way to talk to dead people is with books. And I guess that's part of why I've been like thinking about writing a book for so long or for so many years. It's a way to kind of like immortalize yourself and your thoughts. And I guess that even like goes beyond like this whole notion of like just trying to immortalize yourself. Like if you think about it, like for women, like they would give birth and like their children, their grandchildren, etc. Like that's the proof of their existence, right? Whereas like with men, that's not really the case. Like you don't really have anything that'll prove you existed unless you like go and create something or conquer something, right? So if you look at like Napoleon, Alexander the Great, um, Trump, like to be honest, like any single person like who will be written about in history books, they've gone out and like created something. They've gone out and like conquered something, right? And I think it's this like internal desire to like not be forgotten and to like leave your mark on the world. Like I'm sure there's a lot of people who are just kind of content with where they are in life and like they just want to live a simple life and they don't care if anybody knows they existed or not because the reality is even like 1,000 years from now, 100 years from now, like 10,000 years from now, like most people are not going to know who you are. No, most people are not going to know who I am, right? But actually, that's like there are some people like that we still refer to, right? Like Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, like these guys are super old, but people are still quoting them and like still using their findings and teachings and like philosophies today, right? So I think it's important for everyone to kind of figure out what they're like good at or what they're very knowledgeable about, and then write a book or like go and educate people about it. No, I think like, everyone should at least once in their life attempt to write a book, you know? This is a very interesting journey or like process for me, especially because like I've attempted to write books before, like just about my own life, called The Misfits Manifesto, and then I kind of just stopped and like gave up on that. And then same thing, even with this like credit ebook that I released or like wrote, um, I was I've been thinking about this for so long, and then I just never really did it. You know, I guess it was fear that was stopping me from writing it, and then me just trying to like overcomplicate stuff. Because even now, like to keep this capped at 30 pages is super hard. Like initially, I was like, okay, this is just gonna be like 8 chapters, and like we're good. You know, it ended up becoming like 23 chapters, and even then, like I could keep expanding on each of these chapters, but then I feel like it loses, like it becomes diluted, right? And I don't want the message to be diluted. And like this is the thing, even outside of that, like if I didn't write this book to like gas myself up or like hype myself up or like give myself like authority or like status, right? It was really just like I have all of this knowledge and like it's just being wasted, like sitting in my head collecting dust. And like I'm using it myself, but and like again, like it could be useful for so many other people. And like nobody, like first of all the information about credit that we learn is generally like geared towards Americans, and then there's like a handful of people who like talk about credit in Canada, but like it's outdated information, or they have some ulterior motive, like they're trying to like sell you some course, or they're trying to like upsell you into like coaching, or they're like running some kind of investment scam, you know? So it's hard to like figure out who you can trust and who not to trust. But I mean, again, like I'm not saying you should just blindly trust me either. Like read the book for yourself and come to your own conclusions, right? Do your own research. It's like this is essentially the tutorial, you could say, like if this is a video game, right? Oh, and I guess this is another cool thing we should talk about, how like video games and life are similar. So I had made this video way back in like 2019, but for some reason, like when I share it, like nobody else can watch the video. So essentially what I was saying in this video was that like everyone, like let's say you're playing a ranked game, right? Let's say you're playing like Apex Legends ranked mode, or you're playing Halo ranked, right? There's little buckets. There's like, so you have bronze, silver. So well, let's use Apex, right? So you have rookie, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, masters, Apex, right? So in each rank, like you have to level up your skills to cross out of that rank, right? So when you start, you're at the bottom of rookie. Now, as you progress, you go to like rookie one, rookie two, rookie three, rookie four, five, all the way until you get to bronze, right? But now, so when you're at like rookie six, you're literally the top of your bracket, right? So if you're like competing with or playing with people who are like rookie one, it's gonna be very hard for you to keep progressing. And the more time you associate with these people, like it, the more likely your skills are gonna diminish, right? So now once you get to like bronze, it resets. So now you have to level up your skills again, right? All the way up the ranks as you go. So you'll start at the bottom of the rank or your bracket, you'll get to the top, then you'll level up to the next bracket or rank, and then you have to start at the bottom again and keep going up, right? So you have to be very selective with who you're friends with, who you're spending a lot of time with, who you're like working with, because if they're not constantly improving their own skills, it's gonna bleed into your life, and then you're gonna find yourself taking shortcuts. You're gonna find yourself not having discipline. You're gonna find yourself just being lazy or like complacent or reverting to like old ways, right? And the whole game of life is to progress throughout the levels and like achieve mastery, right? And video games are very easy to master. Real life is not that easy to master, you know? Video games are literally designed to keep you playing. They're designed to give you little dopamine hits. They kind of guide you along the way. Life doesn't come with any resources like that, right? There's no tutorial. There's no cheat codes that, well, I guess money is the cheat code, but there's no like, yeah, there's no real tutorials. Nobody can tell you how to live or how to play the game of life the way you want to play it, right? Because there's no right, there's no wrong. It's just different. Some people are like destined to be great artists, right? So if you put them in like corporate or like something that's not that, there's only so far they'll be able to excel, right? And this applies to like every single realm or domain in life. And I think a lot of people just kind of get stuck playing the wrong game because they're chasing money, they're chasing status, they're chasing fame, power. Like somebody told them, oh, this is what you should do. You know, nobody really sat down and thought like, okay, well, what do I want to do? And again, like it's by design, right? People graduate high school and then they're supposed to like figure out what they're gonna do for the rest of their life, and then go to university and like from there they go on, right? And then you have people having like midlife crises because now they spent like 20, 30 years building their life or like in this career that they thought is what they wanted, only to realize that they'd be much happier not doing any of that, right? It's like, I forgot where I heard this, but essentially there's this American person who goes and he sees this like fisherman who's like, oh, you know, like if you hired a few more people, you can get more fish, and then like you could hire, now you can get multiple boats, and then you can get multiple people to like run those boats, and then you can just spend all your time on the beach. And the guy's like, or I could just do what I'm already doing, make enough, like catch enough fish to feed my family so we can just hang out for the day and like enjoy our life, right? And even like, yeah, like so yesterday when we were out for Dosa, like this whole conversation of like success and like money and stuff came up, right? So then like I had to like pause the conversation and I was like, hold on, let's backtrack a little bit, right? Because like before we can even discuss like what it means to be successful, we have to define what success is. And every single person has their own definition of success, right? A lot of people have just kind of convoluted this idea of success with monetary success or like financial success, right? And there's much more to life than money. Like I know so many people who are extremely wealthy, multimillionaire level, and all they really have is money. They don't have relationships, they don't have friends, they don't have hobbies, they don't have a life, right? All they do is work and then hoard money. And look, like I mean, if that's how you want to live, like by all means, you know, some people's main goal in life is to make as much money as possible and be known as like a super wealthy person, you know? So if that's how you want to live your life, by all means, go ahead and live your life that way. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just saying, take a moment, pause, like reflect on your life, think about what success truly means to you, right? Like if you had all the money in the world, what would you spend your days doing? And a lot of people are like, oh, why would you spend my days like hanging out on the beach or like drinking or like partying or like playing video games? And it's like event or like just doing drugs, and it's like eventually like you'll reach a point where like you've had it enough, you know? Things are only good in moderation. If you consume too much of anything, you're gonna get bored of it, or it's gonna lose its potency, or it's gonna lose its effect or like allure, right? um so this is the same thing, you know, like you gotta stop, you gotta think about like what you would enjoy doing, how you want to live your day, like how you want to spend your time, because money will come and go. Time is the one thing you will never get back. So for me right now, like I would say my main goal or like how I define success is building relationships with people who I actually care about, people I enjoy spending time with, people I enjoy talking to, and then finding ways to collaborate, and then enjoying food because like think about it, like people work so hard to make money so they can feed themselves, but then they don't even enjoy the time they have to eat. You know, it's like they just rush through eating. They're just like scarfing down food, inhaling stuff like a vacuum, and not even like being intentional about what they're eating, not like being cognizant of like if the food they're eating is good for them or not, what's like the nutrition value in the food. And like, I'm not saying you need to just eat healthy and like eat clean all the time. Like it's fine to indulge, you know, like if you have a sweet tooth, like go and indulge, because if you don't take these small indulgences, you'll get to a point where you're gonna binge or you're gonna have a huge indulgence, and that will really derail you or like set you back, right? Like, and I guess this is something that like clicked for me as I was writing this book, because a lot of things when it comes to credit, like people think you have to have like this one major drastic change, and that's not really the case, right? It's about small changes, incremental improvements, and then just letting time compound, right? Compounding, like if you understand it, it's amazing. And if you don't, like you end up paying it, right? And the formula for power, you could say, is time plus money times compounding. So you need time, you need money, and you have to let it compound, right? And yeah, I mean, you can buy time. This is literally what you like. So when you're an employee, you're literally selling your time to somebody, right? So if you think about it in terms of business, like if you have a lot of systems in place and you have trustworthy employees and you're training your staff, like you're literally buying time from all these people to operate your business. And now you're using that time that you've purchased from these people to go and live your life and enjoy your life, right? And like you don't have to be at that level to do this. Like there's many ways to buy time, right? Getting like catering, using a meal prep company, um, ordering groceries online. Like these are all ways you're buying time back, right? So yeah, I mean, I really did not know what I was going to talk about today. I figured let me just start the video and then just talk and see where we go. And like you can see, like we've talked about all these multiple random things, and like the only reason I can like just come on here without any script or like any idea what I'm going to talk about and then just talk is because I've had so many random experiences in my life, right? I have lived so many different lives throughout my like years that I can just draw from all of these different sources, right? And this is really like what life is about. Like you live like a polymath, like you're essentially connecting the dots between places that don't exist, right? So like when I talk about like anime or like video games and that are related to like business or life, like these things shouldn't connect, but they do, right? And applies for like so many things. And like I heard this quote once where the person was saying like essentially you're everyone is born with like one or two different pieces of this puzzle, and then your job in life is you go out and about, you try different things, you explore the world, and you'll come across more pieces of the puzzle, and then eventually you have enough pieces that you can complete the puzzle, right? So the people who are successful in life are the ones who manage to find all the pieces to their puzzle early on in life, right? And the only way you can figure out what your purpose in life is, what your hobby should be, like how you should be living, or like what you were created by God to do, is literally by going out and trying different things. Like, so a lot of people, like, they don't know what's their purpose, they don't know why they exist, they don't know what they should be doing with their life. And like they get depressed about it, but like that's not something you should be depressed about or stressed out about. Like that's literally the greatest problem in the world to have. It means you are now like free to go and experiment, like go try everything and anything, things that like seem intriguing to you, things that excite you, things that seem like you're not really too interested in, like just literally try everything because you never know what you're going to end up enjoying and what you're not going to enjoy, right? You don't have to like stick to one thing. Like whatever you were doing in the past doesn't mean that's what you have to keep doing in the future, right? Like by that logic, I should have still been a barber, or like I should have still had a clothing store, or like any of these other random things that I did, right? But again, like I found a way to kind of integrate everything. So like whatever I learned, like the skills I learned being a barber, like still I can apply them in my day-to-day life, right? And then like it applies into like what I learned in marketing, what I learned in branding, what I learned from sales, right? Like, and then you can bounce around and like knowledge is something nobody can ever take from you, right? So regardless of if you lose all your money, you lose all your network, you lose all your connections, the one thing you always have that nobody can take from you is your knowledge. And the only way to like gain more knowledge, and I mean outside of knowledge, I guess like gain knowledge by like reading and like finding mentors, etc. But experience, like that's something you can't Google. That's something you can't get from a book. Experience, life experience, you only get by living your life, right? This is why I have so many different stories. This is why I can talk about so many different things. This is why like you can put me in a room and it doesn't matter who's in front of me, like I'm gonna have a great conversation with this person, and like 9 times out of 10, like I can keep up with them even if they're using jargon or if they're in some completely random field because I research all kinds of random shit, right? And I guess we should like backtrack a little bit on this whole notion of mentors and then like coaches. So people have this like misnomer or like misunderstanding that like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go find this XYZ person and like convince them to be my mentor. And it's like people who you want to be your mentor are not like they don't care, first of all. They don't need you in their life. Like you're not really adding any value to them. So like, oh, can I take you out for dinner? Can I take you out for coffee? It's like these people don't want to give you their time for free. They can afford to buy their own coffee. They can afford to buy their own dinner. So like, what reason do they have to associate with you, right? So you don't find a mentor finds you. So you prove yourself, you show that like, and they recognize potential in you, and then willingly they're gonna come out and they're gonna be like, hey, look, like, do this, don't do this, and they're gonna mentor you. You don't just go and buy a mentor, right? Like, there's no mentor in a box. Like, you can pay for a coach, but that's a very different thing than a mentor, right? And a coach doesn't necessarily like know everything or be able to give you all the right answers, right? A coach hasn't even necessarily done the thing they're coaching you on, right? And this example Stefan used to use was like when you see like these figure skaters who are like winning at the Olympics, and then you look at their coach, like their coach is like this short, bald, fat Russian guy, you know? And like he definitely could not be doing half the moves that he's coaching these people to do. The coach, like if you're paying for a coach, it's somebody to keep you accountable, really. That's the main thing, right? And then they might offer you guidance or advice, but really having a coach is more so about like fixing your mindset and like keeping you accountable because I like especially nowadays like every other person is some kind of a coach and most of these people shouldn't be coaches. They're not qualified at all. And like if you're doing something that like doesn't isn't going to have a huge impact on somebody's life and you're like on step 2 or 3 and you're teaching somebody about step 1, then okay, cool. But if you're like pretending to be an expert and you're like coaching people in an industry where like you can set them up to literally destroy their whole life, such as real estate or like real estate investing, like that should not be allowed. Like you should, and like for those of you who are doing this, like look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, like, should you really be coaching people? Like, do you really have that strong of an understanding over real estate and economics, right? And unfortunately, the answer is no, right? This is the thing. I'm confident in myself when it comes to real estate and real estate investing because I've been like for my whole life, I've always been somebody who looks for patterns and trends, right? And every single prediction that I made from 2020 has come true. And I knew they were going to come true, which is why I made videos about them, right? And it's not even like anything I was saying was that crazy. Like I'm just a simple guy who actually understands things because like he reads and does research. These people don't know shit about anything. They're just in it to make money, right? So if you ever have somebody pitching you on anything like real estate investing or like some kind of like coach or a guru where they're trying to like sell you some kind of coaching or course or some bullshit, right? Play along with the sales pitch first of all, get them to open up to you and like ask them questions. And this is how I expose so many of these real estate frauds, right? I would approach them from the angle of like, oh, okay, let me be your student, or like, oh, like I just exited this company and like do you want me to come and like help you guys and like work with you guys? And then I would ask them questions about their own real estate deals, right? And because I've been in this industry literally my whole life, I can sniff out bullshit right away. So maybe you wouldn't be able to do that. But what you could do is by asking these questions, eventually ask them, okay, well, if you're actually so good at real estate investing, why are you like teaching people? Or like, why are you spending so much time educating people, right? And then watch what they say, and then eventually you can ask them like, okay, well, why don't you just teach for free? If that's the case, right? If you really wanted to just educate people, why aren't you teaching them for free? Why are you charging people like 2K, 10K, 30K, whatever for coaching or like courses? Why don't you just give this information away for free? And then they'll give you some runaround bullshit answer because they know the reality is they make more money selling information than they would from their actual investing. And in most cases, they are upside down in their investments, right? Or they're using this whole like persona they've created to like create authority to go and raise investor money to go and invest. And like most of these people should not be allowed to raise capital. Like if you've never made 100K yourself in a year, you have no business trying to raise 100K from investors. Period. Point blank. Period. End of conversation. You know, this is why our whole market is so fucked up and inflated right now. So you have all these like wannabes and then all of their students getting finessed, going and buying shit that they can't afford, thinking they're real estate investors, right? Like I literally had this one student who was a rookie when I met her, literally a rookie. And then like maybe 6, 7 months later, I came across her Instagram profile, 15 years experience real estate investing. So I messaged her. I was like, yo, how did you get 15 years experience in 1 year? Like I literally met you last year and you were a rookie. And she tells me, oh, well, no, I've always been a real estate investor because I bought a house 15 years ago. I just didn't realize I was a real estate investor. I'm like, hold up, bro. Like, it does not work like that. That's like, I'm saying I bought a car, now I'm a race car driver. Like, are you dumb or are you stupid? Like, it's all marketing, it's all manipulation, it's all propaganda. And these people know exactly what they're doing because they're using this to, first of all, sell information so they have money they can use as a down payment to invest in real estate. And then the second thing is to create authority to go raise capital from people to go and invest in real estate. Because guess what? They don't have any money, right? And like if they were actually good at real estate investing, they would know how to buy property without money and like without needing to have like investor capital, right? And I know this works because literally this is how my dad got started. He didn't have shit all money when he came to Canada. He used to work 3 or 4 jobs, right? Like he literally was right place, right time, and then like understood creative financing, vendor take back mortgages, first and second mortgage, etc. Right? And was able to buy real estate. Obviously, like his whole business model only worked because he would buy empty commercial plazas or commercial plazas that had big enough units, build a convenience store, run the business. The business is generating enough money to support the whole building, sell the business, keep the building. That business is still there paying rent, which covers the whole mortgage. Everything else becomes gravy, right? That's how you're supposed to play the game. All these idiots who are playing the game of real estate investing don't know what they're doing. They're just buying properties like left, right, and center because they're getting emotional and they're thinking like, oh, it's about doors. And it's like, it's not about doors, first of all. It's not even about owning the property. It's about controlling the property, right? So, like for me, if I was to go and like try and take down like a $2 million commercial deal right now, I wouldn't even bother thinking about like first and second mortgage. I wouldn't even think about like, oh, let me go raise investor capital because this is how much like understanding I have over this industry. I would just go and take control of the building via master lease. Now I have all the upside and I have okay a lot of downside as well, but like I'm literally controlling a $2 million property without any money out of pocket, right? So this is what I mean. Like there's people who talk about the game, and then there's people who live the game, right? So you don't want to be somebody who just talks about this shit. You want to have the kind of understanding and control over this that like somebody like me does, right? Like a lot of the stuff I could teach you about real estate or that like I know about real estate, even just this whole concept of a master lease, nobody will tell you or nobody can teach you, right? You can teach yourself this and like this I guess we'll end on this whole notion of master lease. The Empire State Building, everybody knows this building. That transaction was literally a master lease. So it's like I'm not telling you something crazy that like would never work. Like literally, you all know Empire State Building, and that whole deal was done via master lease. So anybody can do this, but like to be able to be successful at doing this, you can't just like show up out of the blue and like not know shit about real estate. You just watched 1 or 2 YouTube videos, or you took like 1 or 2 courses from like XYZ guru, and now you're trying to do these like advanced strategies. It doesn't work that way, right? Even for myself, like I can talk about this stuff in detail, but it still won't work unless like you're at the right place, right time, right seller, right motivation. Like you literally need all the stars to align to pull off something like this. And I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying you need like very good luck, you know? So I guess this video kind of got away from me, but I guess it really didn't because there was no real topic for today. It was just like, let's just start the video and see where we end up. And I'm pretty content with all of the stuff we've discussed. There's some good, valuable lessons in this video. There's a little bit of nuggets, info nuggets. Throw back to the days when I used to be called the info broker, you know? So again, this is all about branding, right? So initially when I started making content full time in 2019, I started calling myself the real estate wizard. Then I started calling myself the info broker because I transitioned from just real estate to talking about philosophy, credit, finance, investing, like everything. And then, yeah, like everything kind of amalgamated, and I was like, well, I might as well just use my real name, you know? And the funny part about this is like when I started calling myself the real estate wizard, that's when you have these goofballs popping out of the woodwork like Alfonso being like, yeah, I'm the real estate godfather, the godfather of real estate, you know? And I wish I kept the screenshots, but like literally the day I started calling myself the real estate wizard, 3 days later, this clown started calling himself the godfather of real estate. And it's like, bro, first of all, you come from Ottawa. You cannot be calling yourself the godfather of real estate when we have billionaire real estate developers from our city. Minto, Claridge, Trinity Development. Like, who are you? You know? And again, these people rely on like kind people, they rely on naive people, they rely on people who are just trying to get ahead in life. They scam them, they can brainwash them, they manipulate them. They've created their own little cults. And the whole point is for them to like sell you information you can literally get for free, right? And like I could literally like end this guy's whole career with the conversation that I had with him on Facebook, you know? And the only reason this guy ever even replied was because he started to feel the heat, right? Because I have a photo of him outside of one of our buildings in the middle of Vanier talking shit, pretending like he's buying the building. And guess what? I never heard of him before. My dad never heard of him before. The realtor he claimed to have been working with never heard of him before, you know? The guy just literally showed up outside one of our buildings and he didn't realize that people he was with in that post who were tagged were people I had on Facebook. So literally I'm scrolling through Facebook and I come across a photo of my building or my parents' building. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's our building. And then I read like the comments and the caption and I'm like, oh, bro, what the fuck is this shit? You know? And then I reached out to him and he didn't reply. And then sure enough, when I went on like my tirade in 2022 exposing all these idiots, then he replied, you know? But yeah, that's why. So the point of all of that like little ramble was like go and test all these gurus yourself, you know, ask them questions, but like do it in a smart way. Maybe I should come up with like a template or a script that people can use to like test this shit. Because all these people eventually will slip up because they're just their whole thing is a lie, right? So eventually they're gonna get caught in their lies. And the simplest way is you ask them, okay, why don't you teach for free if you're actually making so much money in your real estate investing? And then they'll give you some bullshit answers like, oh, well, people don't value it if they don't pay, blah, blah, blah. And then ask them point blank, well, do you make more money selling information from coaching or courses than you do from your real estate investing? And they can't dodge these two questions, right? They'll try and give you the runaround, they'll try and manipulate shit, they'll try and like pretend they didn't understand, or they'll, oh, let's talk in person or whatever, right? Don't fall for their bullshit. Ask the two questions, you'll get the answers. Anyways, Zoo Crew, that's it for today. For those of you celebrating Christmas, enjoy your Christmas, I guess. And yeah, who knows? Maybe Boxing Day, like I'll go out shopping or some shit. Not that I need anything, you know. But yeah, peace out.